This video is brought to you by dankritual.com. If you use the promo code DREW10 at checkout, you can get 10% off of your order of the tan or green 2-player cloth playmats. Get your playmat today. All right, we're on to the final round of locals. Currently, we're 3-0 at the start of this match. And we'll get to see Will on the left piloting Prank Kids, Adventure Prank Kids to be more specific, going first. He did win the dice roll. So he starts off with a Rite of Amnesia, and he'll get the token and the adventure. And after that, let's see. He's going to maybe normal summon. He activates Prank Kid's Place, which is, that's fine. So he gets the Dropsies. Normals the Dropsies and links it. And he's going to get the effect of Dropsies as 1 and Adventure as 2. So he will get the search to go off there for the Draco back. He'll also gain 1,000 from Dropsies. And he's just going through his deck, figuring out what Prank Kids to summon. He goes with the Fansies here. And then he uses Adventure, which I'm going to Ash. Because I don't want him getting the Griffin to hand. That doesn't seem like a good idea. If I had Ogre, that'd be better, but I don't, which is fine. So now we're going to see a link. He's going to go for the Doodle here. So he gets Doodle as 1 and drops Fansies as 2. And I opt to Valor here just because I'm like, all right, if I hit him with 2 hand traps, that's good. Valor isn't great against Prank Kids, but I needed to just try and slow him down as quickly as possible. And without him getting the search, it's like, okay, he has to open up the Pandemonium or the Pranks in order to really fully combo here. It just kind of, is a little hiccup in his plan, but we're going to see him still continue to combo here, sending the Pranks, which leads me to believe that he already has Pandemonium in hand if he's doing that. So he summons a Lampsies here. And then he's going to link summon again. Will's a really good player. He's top 32 nationals before. He's going to go ahead and get Lampsies effect. Obviously, he won't get the Doodle because he already tried to use it and Veilered it. But as I was saying, Will is a really good player. He's top 32 nationals. Definitely got a lot of regional tops too. Really good guy. I actually don't think I've ever had a bad match playing against him. I think we've had some of the best matches against each other. Always fantastic to play against him. So he summons the Roxy's here. And I go ahead and I give it a cut. And from here, we're going to see the tribute of the Doodle. And I think he adds back Pranks, and I can't remember. I think he adds back Dropsies, if I remember correctly. Yep, so Dropsies and Pranks are what go back to hand. His graveyard is kind of cut off on the camera angle there. I was definitely struggling to get good camera angles because everyone's in such close proximity, but I made it work as best as I could. So you're going to see him play Pranks here, and he discards the Dropsies that he added back, and he gets a token out. So I know he's going to link them, so I told him just to link them, so that's why you don't see the token hit his board, because I'm like, all right, he's going to go for Bow Wow, so I'm like, just make the Bow Wow. There's no reason for me to have you see a token go down when I have no interruptions. So makes the Bow Wow, and I believe he goes for the Roxy's here. Yep, so he goes to the Roxy's. I don't remember what he banished, but he does the banish. And you're going to see in a bit, it'll be a little further into the game 1 here, that we have a misplay that we have to have corrected, and I'll explain what happens when we get there. But he goes ahead, and he's now got a Dropsies on board and a Bow Wow. And, yeah, that's pretty good stuff right there. And from here, I think he might just set some cards. It's been a while. I obviously have been editing these since I did go to play in locals. So I don't remember everything, move for move in every match, but I remember some of them. So he did draw the Fusion Destiny. That's right. I couldn't remember if he made Verte or if he drew the Fusion Destiny. He did draw it, so he sends the Celestial and the Dasher. And we'll see the DP come down. So DP hits board, and Fusion Destiny goes to grave. And from here, I think he's approaching the end of his turn. I don't think he really has much left to do. He might set a couple cards, and that's about it. So yeah, he goes... Did he have... He might have had an Enchantress engraved there, and I just couldn't see it because it was off camera. So then he goes end phase Pranks, and he shuffles back Doodle, Meow, and it looks like he picks Fansies maybe. Yeah, he goes with the Fansies. So tosses those back and shuffles the Fansies. Goes ahead, cuts everything up and shuffles it, and I go ahead and reciprocate for him. And then he'll draw a card off of the Pranks, and then it's to me. So start things off. Now we have 4 cards in hand because we use 2 hand traps. I opt to reveal the Rubik to special it, and then reveal the Calcab to special summon it. And he was basically asking me if they had any effects right now and saying, you know, they're all vanillas, which they are. They have no effects currently because they were specialed from hand. So from here, he's just thinking whether he wants to do anything or not. And he opts to allow me to just continue with my plays. So you're going to see me do the most common play that you'll ever see me do in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And that is overlay a Dante. You see that Dante boy come down, and when it hits the board, he's going to, I believe, use DPE, if I remember correctly. Yes, he does use the DPE. So he goes ahead and is going to pop it, and then my Dante will trigger engrave, and I think I had Calcab. Yep, you get the Calcab back. The good thing is I have not normal summoned yet, so I normal the Tour Guide, and I use the effect, to which he allows it to go through, and we get the graph out. This is where things obviously are going to get pretty nice for us. And I let him go ahead and cut because I realize I'm not going back in currently, so he can go ahead and mix that up however he would like. And then we're going to end up overlaying again. Big surprise. Make the Dante. And we mill 3. I feel like this is decent, but I feel at the same time I should have made Fortune Tune hit the Dropsies, and then just main phase 2 had a 2 material Zeus. But that's just me. I then, but I get some effects that go off here. So one of them is going to be Farfa, which banishes the adventure token. And when that gets banished, any token when it's banished, it doesn't come back. Once it's banished, it's just gone. Whereas, you know, if Farfa were to banish any other monster, it would return. But tokens do not come back after being banished. And then we're going to see me send a Libic off of Rhino Warrior. And the Libic will special summon the Calcab. And we'll probably go battle phase here. Like I said, if I had made the Fortune Tune, that would have been a 2 material Zeus, which would have been probably better. I might have been able to steal game 1, because it would have definitely forced out the DPE, which would have been really good on his turn. And I would have just cleared what he had on board too, which is kind of insane. But we go through these plays because I wanted to fuel my graveyard with Dante's mill effect, so that was kind of important to me. End of battle, Dante goes to defense. And I think we're going to stack some stuff up here. So I was just asking what he had in hand that I knew, which he had Draco back, Right, Dropsies, and Lampsies, which he was more than willing to reveal. And from here, we go for Link 2, making the IP Masquerena. The graph should be Chainlink 1, and the Dante is Chainlink 2 to add the graph back. The Seer gets auto-pop because I control the IP. The Seer summons back the Dante, and then I discard and I make Beatrice because I'm like, all right, this gets a lot of stuff in grave, and it's going to help for my Fairy Tale Snow plays, which is obviously is pretty strong, being able to do some Fairy Tale Snow plays. But it like I said, making the Fortune Tune, attacking the Dropsies, and then making a 4-material Zeus might have been the play. That's not the misplay I was talking about earlier. The misplay is that it is now back to Will's turn, and neither of us remember for him to bring his DPE back, and he starts playing the turn without summoning the DPE back, which will be noticed in probably a minute or two into his turn after we've already done a pretty substantial amount of plays. So you'll see it when it happens, but for right now, we'll keep to what is actually going on, which is me using Beatrice to send Fairy Tale Snow. And then the Dante is going to trigger, which I think I added. I think I add a Seer back off of that, if I remember correctly. So he wanted to ask how many cards I had engraved too, not including the snow. So I counted all of them for him. That way he knew how many were there. And on top of that, obviously, we can get more engraved through IP Masquerena and Beatrice being sent for something like a Nightmare Unicorn. So there's definitely other ways to get multiple cards engraved. But you see me add the Seer back off of the Dante after he confirmed that everything was good. And he's just thinking it up here. And he goes for the search off of Fateful Adventure. Grabs the Griffin. And now he discards the Draco back off of the Fateful Adventure after it searches. And then I activate the IP, and he chains Griffin, which I just had to check real quick, make sure it was a quick effect special from hand. Actually, I've played a few adventure decks, and I completely forgot that it was a quick effect in the moment. I was like, oh, I'm like, holy crap, I forgot that was actually a thing. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Good stuff. So Fairy Tale Snow will be something that I chain to the activation of Griffin. So I banish the 7. And at this point, Will opts to chain Call by the Grave. So I don't have anything that I really want to get rid of now, so I just let that go. And the IP resolves. And at this point, it is coming close to the realization that the DP was forgotten. We haven't gotten there yet, but we will shortly. So the Unicorn will trigger its effect. And I discard, I think I discard Seer. Yeah, and here's the realization, forgot the DP. So what you're going to see happen shortly, because we're going to end up cutting the video to the corrected point, is you're going to see the board just get rearranged in about 3 seconds. So 3, 2, 1, and there's the change back to where it was. We had to rewind the entire game state to the point where it was at a proper point. And I also have to, which I believe happens shortly here, put the Dante engrave from the Beatrice, because I still had the Fairy Tale Snow gone, which I think we'll notice shortly. So yeah, that's gone, and I already have the Seer in hand, so we were just correcting the last thing that we had to correct. And yeah, other than that, we were good. We had the store owner, who was basically the final judge in the situation. Shout out to Art of Imperial Gaming and Collectibles, my local, the best local in the not only East Coast but just the entire country. Best locals ever. So shout out to Art. Gotta love him. So here we're going to see the proceeding of the turn, and Will said when the whole misplay happened where the DP was forgotten to be brought back, he's like, oh, this just kind of makes it worse for you. And little did he know, it actually kind of made it better for me, because it gave me more things that I could do and pop off with. So the Unicorn hits the board, and we discard the Rhino. And I think I targeted the token, if I remember correctly. Pretty sure. So he's just thinking about whether or not he has anything that he wants to chain. And looking back at it, I think the Griffin should have still been in his deck. I'm almost 99% sure that the Griffin should have still been in deck because I don't think he had searched it yet off of Adventure. I could be wrong, but I think he searched it just this turn and then pitched the Draco back to equip to the token. So there's a strong chance that the Griffin shouldn't have been on the board. Or in hand, I should say. So now the Farfa is going to trigger to attempt to banish the DPE. He tries to pop the Unicorn, but the Unicorn does not die because it was made through IP Masquerena. And he just wanted me to count the cards in graveyard for him now because obviously there's, a whole rewind state that happened. But I'm not, like I said, I'm 99% sure that the Griffin should not have been on the board. I could be very wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it should have been. Like I said, it shouldn't even been in hand. But yeah, so we'll proceed here. And Will is just thinking on what to do here. He's got a Prank Kid in hand, which is obviously pretty nice, seeing he shuffled the Meow Meow back into the deck. Now I'm going to activate the Snow. And I already know he has the Called By, which at this point is fine because I can properly banish cards that are more useful to banish. So I just get to chain the Snow again and banish the cards that I think are necessary to banish. So I have 6 there, and I think I'm just thinking on the 7th. I banish the Graph, and now the Fairy Tale Snow hits board and sets the Dropsies. Because I knew he had the Meow Meow back in deck, so kind of had to set that Prank Kid to not let him do anything with it. And now I think he's probably going to go Battle Phase shortly, if anything. I'm just going through his extra deck, trying to figure out, all right, are there any plays I can make? Is there anything I can do? And I think this is actually a really good spot for me to be in, to be perfectly honest. This is actually a pretty good position, and it kind of makes him think a little harder and puts him in a rougher position as far as lines of play go and ways to think it out, because I'm not giving him simple lines of play. I'm kind of putting up a board that's difficult to play through, and which is crazy because it's just a Fairy Tale Snow and the Nightmare Unicorn, but the Nightmare Unicorn can't be destroyed by card effect, and the Fairy Tale Snow set his starter and that of the Prank Kid, so his Griffin is now going to attack the Fairy Tale Snow, which is fine. That's going to happen. Definitely shouldn't have happened, looking back at it, because I'm pretty sure, like I said, I'm pretty sure he searched the Griffin when he shouldn't have searched it at that point. I could be wrong, though. I can't remember. I think he did that well past that point. So the Prank Kid's Pranks is now going to shuffle back 3. So now we see a Bow Wow, a Doodle, and I don't know what the third card is. I cannot remember what the third card was. This is actually a very long game 1. I think this game 1 was probably like 26 minutes or something like that. It was extremely long. Obviously, you guys are seeing a version of it that has, the game state correction cut out, and it's being played at 125% speed. So you're seeing everything go a whole lot quicker than it actually is. But I draw for turn. The DP comes back. Normal the Seer. Seer gets automatically destroyed, and then I summon the Unicorn. And at this point, I go Battle Phase, and I attempt to swing at the Dropsies. And I think Will goes for the DPE here. Which is a reasonable play. Like, you get the Dante off the board. That way Zeus doesn't come down or anything, because that's obviously less than ideal. So the Dante gets popped. Dante will add back Seer. And then I attack the Dropsies because I don't want him to have a starter. And the Griffin currently doesn't negate anything. So now the DP hits the board again. And the Adventurer is going to attempt to search. And he grabs Enchantress and then discards it. And then banishes it to add a right. which is going to get him a token. Obviously, the token is going to help him establish a board that's a little more threatening to me in my life points, seeing it's got some beefy stats. And then he bounces the unicorn with the Draco back, and all he needs is a normal summon here to secure game one, because he's very close to having what he needs. I think he's at 6,500 on field, and he normals the correct cards. So now we're on to game two. That was a very long game one. Obviously, the little misplay kind of screwed everything up a little bit, but that is okay. So we normal the Rhino, and I special Alec, and upon the special of the Alec, I believe Will has a response, which is either an Imperm or a Veiler. I can't remember. Yeah, so he Veilers the Rhino, so the Alec does get destroyed, and it forces me to set one and pass. And I flip Anti-Spell Fragrance, which honestly may have been the MVP card of the entire day. It put in so much work, like, honestly. Anytime that I drew it, it was fantastic. Probably the best side deck card. So he normals the Lampseas and then links for the Meow. Goes for the Lampseas, and we have the Ash, which obviously just cuts his plays off completely. And from here, Will opts to set a back row. And does he set another one? Maybe he does. No, he doesn't set another one, I don't think. He just passes. And now I didn't have a BA in hand, so you see me actually normal summon Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit and make a Dante. That way I could mill 3, and I mill, looks like another Ghost Ogre, and Called By, and I can't see what the other monster is. It looks like a tour guide maybe, but Rhino sends Graph, and Graph will trigger. And it summons the Seer. And from here, we attack with the Seer, hit the Meow, and hit him for 600. And then Dante swings in for 25, I believe. After that, we enter our main phase 2. And we're going to link for our IP Masquerena. And then the Seer and the Dante will trigger. I'll pitch the Seer to make the Beatrice. And set one other back row. And from there, I believe I pass my turn. I don't really have much more to do anyways from that point. The other option is that I could have always tried to hit his back row with like a Nightmare Phoenix possibly, but we didn't go with that, which honestly probably would have been the better play, looking at how the game played out afterwards. But hey, it's hindsight is always 20/20, so not much you can do there. So Will checks the back row. And you're going to see him flip it and target the IP, which does shut off the anti-spell, which I completely forget that it's in the same column. So we now see the activative right, and I check the anti-spell, and he was like, oh no, the imperm. And I was like, yep, that's right. The imperm does, in fact, shut that off because it was set prior, which is why I'm saying the Nightmare Phoenix might have been better because I could have popped it, and then my anti-spell would have been active still, and he wouldn't have gotten to use right. That would have been pretty bonkers. But we go ahead and we detach off of Beatrice, and let's see what I send here. I do send Token Collector, which I then quickly, I'm like, I'm not going to send Token Collector. And instead I send the Fiendish Rhino Warrior. So then Rhino is going to trigger after he gets the resolve of his right here to get the token and the Fateful Adventure activated. So I do send a Farfa. And Dante does add the Seer. And the Farfa is going to attempt to banish the token. And the token's now gone, which is fine. Basically, I don't want him to be able to put up a negate with Griffin, and that was the entire point of that play. And now he will do his search, and his Fateful Adventure is still active because the Imperm Zone is in the far right for him and the far left for me, and his adventure is under the extra monster zone. So his adventure is active, and Perm doesn't shut that off or anything. So just in case anyone in the comments is like, oh, why is this happening? It's because it's illegal. That's why it's happening. So he searches for the Griffin. He's doing everything properly. So now we're going to see, I think, the special summon of Griffin. So as long as you don't have the monster zone open or you have the token, you can special it. And I was just double checking to confirm that he needs a token on board to negate too. So now the Griffin hits board and he searches for the Draco back. I can't remember what he discarded off of the adventure, but pitched something for it. And here's the normal summon of Effect Veiler. So now he's going to probably link these off, I think. He attacks actually with the Griffin, hits the IP, hits me for 1,200. And now he goes into main phase 2. And he goes for the link. And he makes the Verte. Pays the 2,000 off of Verte. And from there, I actually dropleted it, so he just scooped and we went to game 3. So yeah, basically I droplet send Seer summon Dante, and then it goes to game 3 because he doesn't have any other plays, and we were getting very close to time. After siding was done, we only had about a minute and a half left, and we had like a minute extension from the correction of the play. So he's going to start comboing off, and basically I was hoping for hand traps, and you'll see that I did not open hand traps at all, and if there wasn't any time in like a time rule, I definitely would have had the game won with what I had in hand, but taking into consideration the time rule, there was just no way that I was going to be able to play through what he was doing, because he did get the full prank kid combo. So you see there, I just didn't open hand traps, got four names and a droplet, but we went 3-1 and got second, so that's pretty cool.